Welcome to Meeple Mentor. I'm Jared and we're about to play Planetarium. Let's take a look and I'll show you how. Feel free to pause the video as needed to follow along with your copy of the game. For your convenience, I've added timestamps in the description to the different sections of the tutorial. Make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell below the video so you don't miss any of my latest content. While playing Planetarium, players will be collectively creating a new solar system around a central star in the universe. 4 new planets will be born in the course of the game, created through various types of matter floating in space. The cards played will determine if the planet is hostile or habitable. Whoever best guides the formation of this new planetary system will be the winner. Points are scored based on the cards played and the final state of the planets in the solar system. While it seems like a heavy concept, the game is very streamlined and plays fairly quickly. To set up Planetarium, first lay out the game board in the center of the table. Leave room on each side for a row of cards to be played next to the board. The game comes with colored planet tokens and planet tokens that can be used upright in plastic holders. I prefer to use them in the holders. The 4 planets are A, B, C, and D, also shown in the corners of the board. Place the planets' tokens on their 4 starting spaces on the map. They are labeled A, B, C, and D. Find the 4 planet status tokens and place them in the planet corners of the board matching their color. These tokens are 2-sided, one for being hostile and the other side for being habitable. Each planet starts out hostile, so make sure that side is face up for each planet. The small round tokens are different pieces of matter that will be in space. I've added an opaque bag in my copy to help with setup. Without a bag, mix the tokens face down together and place them face down in each dotted spot on the map. All the tokens will be used. After placing them out, turn them all face up to reveal them. If using a bag, shuffle the tokens in the bag and draw them without looking to place directly on the board. I find this to be a faster method. Either way, the matter tokens will all be face up before starting the game. Separate the cards into 3 decks. You'll have a low evolution deck, high evolution deck, and final evolution deck. Shuffle each separately. Let each player choose a color to be from the 4 colors. They should take the 2 hexagon scoring markers and 8 cubes in their chosen color. The 2 hexagons start on the 0 spaces of the scoring track along the side of the board. One will keep track of the 10s place and the other for the 1s. Give each player a 4-planet quadrant board. Deal 2 cards from each deck to each player. From the 2 final evolution cards received, each player chooses one to keep and discards the other. Everyone should start the game with a hand of 5 cards. Keep a discard pile next to each stack. The player who discarded the highest value final evolution card will go first. Play will proceed clockwise throughout the game. If a tie for the highest value card, then decide a first player randomly. On a player's turn, they must move a token on the board. Then they may play a card if possible. If not playing a card, then just move a token and pass. The next player goes after they pass or have resolved playing a card. You can move either a matter token or a planet. Everything must always move in a clockwise direction. Matter and planets can move one space along its orbit or along one of the thinner lines to move to a different orbit. Matter cannot move onto a space occupied by another matter token, nor move through it. Matter can be moved onto a planet token space, at which point the player can collect it and place it on their player board. A planet can be moved onto a matter token space to collect matter as well. The collected matter must go to the respective planet quadrant on your board. Planets have a special move called sweeping out its orbit. A planet can be moved along its orbit line as far as you want, or until it hits the space of a matter token. While sweeping its orbit like this, the planet can move through another planet, but never finish its move on the same space as a planet. Players can keep as much matter tokens on their player boards at a time as they want, being careful to keep the 4 sections separate. After moving a token on the board, you can play a low evolution or high evolution card from your hand. You must meet the cost requirement shown on the left of the card. You may normally only play one card per turn. The final evolution cards can only be played on your final turn. For these, you can play as many as possible. However, you can never hold more than 4 final evolution cards in your hand at a time. Matter tokens are paid from your board to the evolution track starting at the bottom. After someone places a token onto or past the double arrow icon, then you've reached the acceleration point of the game. From this point on, players are allowed to move matter tokens 1 or 2 spaces. Planets still move as normal. If you play a card on your turn, draw a card at the end of your turn. At the start and end of your turn, you should always have 5 cards in your hand. When drawing a card, you may draw 1 low evolution, 1 high evolution, or 2 final evolution cards. When drawing 2 final evolution cards, choose 1 to keep and 1 to discard. Keep face-up discard piles next to the decks. If any deck is emptied, shuffle the discards and create a new deck. Play passes clockwise turn after turn until the final turns are triggered. To play any card, you must meet the requirement shown on the left edge. You must be able to pay the amount of matter tokens shown from a single planet quadrant of matter collected. The card is played along the side of the board matching the planet your tokens were from. Some cards require you to pay matter tokens from a specific planet type. Planets A and B are terrestrial, and C and D are gaseous systems. The paid matter tokens are added to the evolution track. Then place the card along the side of the board of the matching planet. The arrow under the planet letter shows which side of the board their cards are played. Add it to the row and place one of your colored cubes on the card to show it's one you played. If you run out of cubes, you can still play cards, just remove a cube from another card to use on the new one. Each card along the row shows the kinds of events that have affected the planet's development. Then you score the number of points shown in the upper right hexagon. Adjust your score on the score track using your hexagon tokens. After scoring the points, now look at all the cards played on that planet. The gray hex outline around the points means hostile. The green hex outline means habitable. Whichever type has the most overall points after playing a card down will be the current state of the planet. Flip the token on the planet to the hostile or habitable side as appropriate. If playing a card tied the score, don't change the token. The white filled-in hex indicates it's a final evolution card. Some cards have special abilities. There are 2 possible, downgrade and gravity. The gravity icon on the card means that after playing the card and scoring it, you may take 1 matter token from anywhere off the board. You may place this collected matter token on any one of your 4 planets' quadrants. The downgrade icon means you may discard this card from your hand instead of playing a card this turn. You must draw a low evolution card in this case. You may only downgrade once per turn, and only if you haven't already played a card. Many of the final evolution cards don't require spending matter tokens. Instead, their requirements are based on the state of the planets on the map. You may see the orbit icon with Roman numerals. The planet you play this to must be in one of the orbits shown. The orbits are all numbered on the map in Roman numerals. From the closest to the sun outward, they are numbered 1 to 7. If you see the green icon, the planet played to must be habitable, with the green habitable side of the token face up. Likewise, if you see the gray icon, the planet must be in a hostile status. Once someone places 1 or more matter tokens on the final large space of the evolution track, they've triggered the end of the game. That player should complete their turn, then play as many final evolution cards as they can. Then each other player takes their final turn, followed by playing as many final evolution cards as they can. Matter tokens spent on cards in the final turn are stacked into the final space of the evolution track. Players won't draw up cards at the end of their final turn. The final evolution cards have a special requirement shown by the 4-color icon with an arrow. This means you must have a card played at that planet with one of your colored cubes in order to play the final evolution card there. You should remove the colored cube from the card and collect it back to your supply. So the number of cards and cubes you have built up on any planet restricts the number of final evolution cards you can play on it. Since you may not hold more than 4 final evolution cards at a time, you may not play more than 4 at the end of the game. Score victory points for each played final evolution card as shown in the upper right of the card. After each player has played their final turn and played any final evolution cards, the game is over. The player with the most points wins the game. Ties are broken by who has the most matter tokens still on their player board, then whoever has the most cube markers still on cards around the board, and finally the player with the fewest cards left in their hand. Planetarium can be played solo with some small changes. In order to play it solo, you'll need to find 2 d6 dice, 2 standard 6-sided dice numbered 1 to 6. Alternatively, you could use a random number generator app to get numbers from 2 to 12. Set up the game as normal, but use the 2 red scoring hex tokens to create a target score. Place them stacked on 100. To win, you'll need to score higher than the target score. For an easier game, start the target at 90, and for a harder game, start it at 110. Your score starts at 0 like normal. The human player starts the game with the first turn. After each of your turns, roll the dice. On a roll of 8 or more, nothing happens. When rolling 2 to 7, move each planet on the corresponding orbit number or less. Move the planets in order of A, B, C, then D. When moving a planet, move it directly forward 1 space on its orbit to a matter token, or sweep out its orbit to the next available matter token. If the orbit has no more matter tokens, instead move the planet along a thin line to an adjacent orbit. Choose the adjacent orbit containing the most matter tokens. If a tie, move the planet to the orbit closer to the Sun. When a planet on the last spot of orbit 7 moves, move it down to the 6th orbit and sweep it if necessary to get to a matter token. The matter tokens collected by planets on these turns are placed on the evolution track face down. The target score is lowered by 2 for every face down matter token on the track. Continue playing until a matter token is placed on the final space of the evolution track, either by you or the virtual player. Then play a final turn, followed by final evolution cards like normal. Scoring more than the adjusted target score means you win. Keep the rulebook handy and check BoardGameGeek.com for FAQs and extra content. Check the video description for links to Top Shelf Gamer for token upgrades, Cloud Puncher Games for board game shelving, and Mr. Meeple t-shirts for cool board gaming shirts. Thanks for watching. Like and subscribe if you found this teaching helpful. Stick around to watch another Learn to Play video. And remember, teach when you can, but always be learning. See you next time.